Hi everybody, this is Natalie. Been a while since I've been on here on a video. I'm just coming in today because I've been guided with a lot of messages in the last few days, week or so, about coming into Zero Point and neutrality. And this has come in a lot stronger in the last couple days, including a friend of mine seeing me in a dream last night, and came to me today with the message, I'm told to tell you that you need to reach Zero Point and find neutrality. And at the same time I was having this conversation with this dear friend, I was also having another conversation about another topic about the moon and the whole narrative that circulates about is the moon real or not. And I just want to say that as far as the moon goes, my personal feeling, and this is just my experience with it, and everybody is absolutely entitled to their beliefs, their feelings, their experiences. And I just ask everybody to just first understand that we are all here at this time on this planet to have our own experiences, to learn, to navigate through different paths, to walk down different paths. That as we go down these different paths, we are walking them to experience. We are walking them to learn, to feel, to pick up puzzle pieces, or to help heal and clear anything that is of distortion, or to experience these stories, distortions, or a truth, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Every pathway is an experience. Every moment of every day is about learning and experience, and that's why we're here on Earth. But in terms of the moon, now this video is not going to be exclusively about the moon, it's just one example that's come in. Really the message is about Zero Point to neutrality and having a state of no opinion and no belief ultimately. But this has been a really tough year with a lot of blaring opinions and a lot of blaring polarity. Whether it's elections in the United States or COVID, doesn't matter. There are two big narratives that go around that have a lot of energy behind them, a lot of opinion behind them, a lot of emotion, a lot of triggers, a lot of beliefs, a lot of narratives on both sides. And ultimately what they're telling me is to detach from everything and to come back to the middle, to detach from all beliefs and come back to the middle, to detach from right and left, from light and dark, from good or bad, from us and them. Because it's not about games, it's not about competition, it's not about somebody's out to get us. Because when you're in this state of us versus them, you're creating separation, you're creating division, you're creating a competition, and it's not why we're here. We're here to be, to experience, to create a new earth that is based on love, unconditional love, acceptance, forgiveness, and looking at things from a much higher perspective. Can we still hold opinion? Absolutely. Do we all need to be the same? No. This is a beautiful planet that is so diverse. Celebrate the diversity. But it's about accepting one another's opinions and diversities and pathways as just nothing, just without judgment, without categorizing. I've been studying and learning a little bit about the Tao Te Ching and reading it. And in the Tao Te Ching and in Taoism, it's really about just a state of being without any judgment, just observing energy and observing everything as an expression of source. Everything is an expression of God. Everything is an expression of experience, of energy, of emotion. And we all have that right to an opinion of emotion, of energy. We've all been right, we've all been wrong, we've all been good, we've all been bad, we've all been light, we've all been dark, and we are all of them. We're meant to embody all of them. But shifting into the 5D earth is really about coming into a state of oneness and acceptance, not pure light per se, but yes, we do anchor when we come to a state of acceptance and accept the shadow within ourselves and love ourselves and forgive ourselves. We can then have a lot more compassion, and I'll back up, when we can see the mistakes and distortions within ourselves and admit them and accept them and put that ego aside to say, I'm a soul having an experience, a human experience, and I'm here to learn and play and experience just like everybody else. That's how we grow on a soul level. You know, this is a big classroom. So when we can accept that about ourselves, we can turn around and look at everybody else and say, they're students just like me, experiencing, learning, and growing, making mistakes, and then they're like, oh, okay, I learned from that mistake. Or not. That's okay. But it's not up to us to judge that or to make them fit in a box or to try to force them to change. We become teachers when we walk our walk and lead by example and share information from our heart, from a place of purity. Just leading by example of who we are and our actions is how we teach. And but back to the whole point of this, me coming online to make this video, in terms of neutrality, what spawned this was a few different conversations I've been seeing and narratives about different topics with really strong opinion, things about conspiracy theories, things about different groups and societies, and I'm not going to name any names, that hold some really strong beliefs. And these are groups and systems within the Lightworker community, within the New Age community. And, you know, when we look at ascension and awakening, it's really supposed to be about awakening to your true self, who you are as a human, who you are on a soul level, as a spiritual level, and realizing that you're a soul having a human experience. You're a spirit. You know, you're an expression of God that is just, we're all the same, just in different physical forms, having different experiences with different faces, but we're all faces of the same thing. You know, we're just like, they've shown me images, it's almost like the biggest, massive jellyfish, you know, and the top is source, and each tentacle is, and imagine there's trillions of them, is a soul, a life stream, and each one is just a different face, a different expression from the same. And that was a bit of an image that they showed me last week when I was looking at oversouls and soul groups and monads and such, how they all kind of come down in groups of 12 and then another group of 12, like a bunch of umbrellas. And it looked like a whole bunch of jellyfish, you know, stemming from one. We're all attached to the one, and it's massive. And when we keep going up and up and up and up and up and up to the top, to our oversoul, and then the oversoul of our oversoul, you know, first starting with our higher self, and then the highest aspect of ourself, and then the oversoul, and then, you know, above that, and eventually you get up to source, eventually, right? And that's the way home. is we go up and up and up, or go, backwards, not backwards, but just going up. And the higher we go, the more we see the oneness and likeness in one another. The higher we go, the closer we are to Source, to God, and becoming God, and realizing that's who we are internally as God, God itself, embodied, right? And when we're here, we're having these human experiences and we're learning. And part of this is we go through different pathways and experience. I'm going to go here and see what it's like. I'm going to go here and see what it's like. And that's what we're here to do. And it's all okay. And there's no judgment of anybody who's on that path or that path or that path or that path. It's what they chose, and it's fine. But ultimately, the goal is to come back to the middle and to detach from everything, even if it seems to be perfect, even if it seems to be the right path, or of the light, or of the right thing to do. When we look at these systems within and groups, I'm not talking about like Facebook groups or anything. I'm talking about groups within not just the Lightworker community, but groups that the Lightworker community has attached to. It's like with Ascension, we're detaching from old ways that we were raised, with the media, with religion, with, churches, and with mainstream everything. And that's good. But what I'm seeing happening is a reattachment to something different, to a new narrative, to a new group, to a new program. Because it answers questions for you. Maybe it's a comfort zone for you. Because you felt like this was never right, so therefore this over here must be right, because that's wrong. But what if they're both wrong? What if the answer is always in the middle? And it is. The answer is always in your heart. It's always in the middle. It's always with Source. It's always in your soul. And it's always a state of neutrality. Always. And that's that center point. That's that 0 point. And when I asked in my discussion with Sophia and Isis and Mary Magdalene and Yeshua today, as I'm channeling, they're saying, yes, you have to come to 0 point, but 0 point is ultimately letting go of all attachment, of all beliefs. You can have opinion, but it's about not attaching to them. You're not lugging it around like a teddy bear, or a book saying, this is me, and this is what I believe. And as humans, we like to attach to things. We like to say we're part of a group. We want to have a sense of belonging. I'm in the group over here that believes this. I'm in the group over here that believes this. And in this group, the narrative is X, Y, and Z. So what's happening is, if we're attaching to a certain group, that group almost, if we're not careful with discernment, can potentially be dictating all of your beliefs and all of your actions. And all that's happened is we've detached from one thing before our awakening and have reattached to another. It's still a belief system. It's still an attachment. And a lot of times we go through these phases, and I've done it myself, where we attach to something else and something else and something else. And it's all part of it. And it's totally okay. I'm just explaining in terms of definition about what this is. And to ultimately, if you've been hearing these terms of neutrality and 0 point, somebody asked me yesterday, what are my feelings of Trump? And I said, neutral. Okay, yeah, if I get into my ego or my emotions, there might be this I think is great and this I think is I can have answers on both sides depending on how I look at it. Doesn't matter. I'm not here to talk about that. But ultimately, it's a state of neutrality, because ultimately we're looking at everything as just is. Again, it's no us and them. There's no groups. There's no nothing. It's detachment. And that is scary, because when we feel attached to a belief system, a church, an institution, a group on social media, a group in our family, in anything, we have a sense of community, we have a sense of belonging, of like-minded people, and you know what? We need that, and that's great, and that's how we learn, myself included. And that is all perfectly okay. What I'm saying is it's really important for everything, to not get overly attached to any one teacher, leader, belief system, program, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm very much aligned with Christ consciousness energy. You could say Christianity, yes, with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. However, way beyond that, they are souls that have been here way long time, a very long time. And beyond that, they also studied Taoism and Buddhism. So I see myself as a bit of everything, with looking at Taoism, looking at Buddhism, looking at shamanism, at Jewish belief, at different systems, at pagan. I see merit and value in all things, because I'm not judging or evaluating or even attaching myself. When I don't attach to things, I can therefore open up and see the value in many more things, because I've detached. And when you detach, you make room for more to come in. So the less attached you are, the more you can see the different stories and the value of them, or the truth of them, or the reality of them. And you can also have a lot more clarity of, okay, that, yes, that, no, that, no. And you can just start to have a lot more clarity. And ultimately, all your answers are going to be in your heart. When it comes to the narrative of the moon, this is related to divine feminine energy. And I've been working a lot with divine feminine energy, and I'm going to do a lot more videos about that topic coming up. But I love the moon energy, okay? I'm a Cancer. Cancer's ruled by the moon. When the moon is in full swing with a lot of light, my energy is really strong, like right now. We just had a full moon recently. When the moon is dark and is a new moon, I'm very inward. I tend to have like lower energy, sometimes more melancholy. It's just my energy goes down. And as the moon has more light, my energy comes up. And I never noticed this until a close friend of mine that was around me a lot noticed this pattern. He's like, when it's new moon, you're a lot more moody. You get triggered a lot easier. You have a lot more sadness. And then my guides kept telling me, and then through other channeled message, they kept saying, you need to work with the moon energies. And I threw it away for a year. And finally, I started listening and paying attention. And now I'm like, oh, okay. And I've never attached to any type of astrology, really heavy. I'm starting to pay more attention to it now. It's just never been something I've understood or attached to. But I do see this pattern with the moon, so there's no denying it and how I feel. And when I connect to the moon, I feel beauty, I feel mystery, and I feel love. And I have channeled with her before. Other people have channeled the moon's energy for me with messages, because I do have a connection with the moon. The moon, just like Gaia, her name's Luna. She's a feminine energy, and Gaia is a feminine, and the sun, Ra, is masculine. They all have consciousness. Okay, the moon in tarot, it represents, and the moon in general represents, mystery and illusion. So I believe there has been things done to the moon energetically, and there has been or are beings that, maybe live on the surface of the moon, maybe, okay. If that's true, then is there distorted energies being projected from it? Probably. Are there those out there that believe the moon is fake, or it's a false satellite, or the real moon was taken away, and we're looking at a fake moon, or the real moon is behind this moon? There's all kinds of stories. But when people talk about these different storylines and these different narratives, and then there's talk about it in conversations in whatever format, that is creating energy. When you talk about things or write about things, you're creating it. So that narrative becomes real, because in their mind, it's real. They've created it. We are powerful manifestors, okay? So just understand the concept of creation and the power of words, whether it's written, thought, or spoken. We are creators, for the good or bad. We are creators. We create our reality. So if there's narrative going on about whatever it is, you're creating a timeline in which that exists. And if you're on that timeline, then it is true on that timeline, okay? Because in that timeline you've created, it exists. Is it the best timeline? Is it accurate timeline? No. But it's an experience. And so this is what happens with energy and with creation. Our words are powerful. Our thoughts are powerful. But what they're showing me now with the stage of neutrality, and with at the same time having a discussion about neutrality with one friend, and then in another group discussing about, the whole narrative about, is the moon real or not? And some people are commenting one way and some are commenting another. And what came up in discussion with another lovely soul who I connect with is, and she pointed out something really important, the moon is feminine. And when people are, and Yeshua confirmed this, when people are afraid of the moon, they're afraid of the feminine energy. It's mysterious. It can be dark. Okay? The mother womb, our womb is dark. Feminine energy can be dark. You are birthed and created out of darkness. Right? We come from, that light comes from that darkness. The masculine energy is that light. It's the electrical. The moon energy, or the feminine energy, is magnetic. So looking at a twin flame concept, for example, it's the magnetic, feminine, and left hand, feminine. It's the magnetic is the feminine, the lunar energy, and the electric, the solar, masculine energy. Okay, so you got your magnetic and your electrical, and they get attracted. So that's the same dance between the sun and the moon and our tides. It's this magnetic, and we know everything around us is magnetic, right? It's electric and magnetic. And these energies are all around us and within our own bodies. And we hold the masculine and feminine within. But the message that Yeshua gave me was, those that are afraid of the moon are afraid of their own feminine energy and the power of the divine feminine. They're afraid of it. And also understand that the moon is a mirror. And if you're feeling distortions and maybe attaching to the, either very hard, or maybe to, maybe is that true? Or feel a little uncomfortable with the moon energies. What they're doing is asking you to come back to 0 point, to look at the mirror. With all things, always look at the mirror, okay, if something triggers you. If you're like, and it doesn't matter what it's about. If you're like, that's a bunch of, hogwash, not true, it's a conspiracy, there's all this, all this story and all this drama, put it on pause. Forget everything that everybody's told you and go meditate. And you got a 0 point. You got to go back. Go deep into your heart. Connect to your soul. Connect to your higher self. Where is the energy? How do you feel? And try to let go of as much of the baggage, of much of the resistance, of much of the fear, of much of the stories and what everybody else has said. And that can take a lot of work, can be really hard to do, but we got to let go of it all and come back to that 0 point, right? It's like looking at the Bible. Well, what really was the story? You gotta like go backwards. You gotta 0 point everything, because it's just a reflection of somebody's interpretation and somebody's words and translation and what was chosen to be put in a book. That's all it is. It's not all it is. It's just an expression of. So it's the same thing with everything. Everything is an expression of. So with everything, you always have to look behind everything, behind everything, behind everything. And ultimately, that is attaching to no story and to just observe. So the Taoist way is to look at everything and just observe. That is a celestial body in the sky that has this, it orbits the earth, and it has this effect on our tides and on with a lot of women with their menstrual cycle for some, and with emotions. Okay. Observe it. What causes it? Doesn't matter. Just observe it. It is what it is. But again, this ultimately isn't about the moon. This ultimately is just about any storyline. I'm just using this moon as an example. Okay. We could talk about many things. Pick a topic. It doesn't matter. But whatever narrative it is that you're feeling confused about, if you're seeing in groups on social media discussions on both ends of the polarity, understand that that is an expression of polarity. It's a belief system here and a belief system here. Come back to the middle. 0 point it. Neutral. Okay? That's ultimately what they're asking us to do for everything, is just to come to a state of neutrality. And they showed me, it's kind of funny. I'm going to show you a picture. It's my Kleenex box. It actually has a really pretty artwork on it. But they were showing me how it's this, sorry, I'm trying to hold it steady, flower, this painting, and it's like there's one here, and there's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. And it's like all of these feathers are going in different directions, and it's as if they're all beliefs, they're all attachments, they're all narratives, they're all stories, they're all light, dark, left, right. It doesn't matter. They're all just different expressions, but where are they coming from? Right there, from the center, right? So what they showed me was to go to the center point. If I can, everything's backwards on here. We can go here. So if you're over here, work your way backwards to here. If you're over here, work your way to the middle. Just work your way to the middle, okay? That's 0 point, is work your way to that middle. Yes, you can hold opinion, absolutely. We are here to celebrate our differences and our uniqueness. This planet is so diverse. Celebrate the heck out of that, We are here to be unique. So it's not about all having being the same belief, of the same color of skin, of the same anything. Absolutely not. How boring would that be? We're here to all be unique and be different, and to celebrate one another's wins, and to have compassion for one another when we fall down and when we're hurt and when we're feeling lost and hurting. Okay? Have compassion. Doesn't matter beliefs. It doesn't matter where we're at on our journeys. Doesn't matter. Have compassion and hold space for people. Be forgiving. And ultimately, it begins with yourself. Look deep, deep, deep in your heart, in your soul, and reflect everything on yourself. Because if something's triggering you and you're looking at something and you're saying, you're attacking, or you're feeling triggered, or you're upset, or you're angry, and you're calling things, names, or you have anger of what if this and what if that and what if this, what if that. Understand that when you have this, when I went on my walk today, this came to me, and I even wrote down, I had this little quote, I had to stop and record it, and I said, if you don't believe something is bad, you can't be afraid of it because it just is. That is the Taoist way. I'll say it again. If you don't believe something is bad, then you cannot be afraid of it. It just is. That is the Taoist way. And that's exactly what I learned reading the Tao Te Ching, which, by the way, is what Yeshua, Jesus, studied as part of his training. And that's where the term the way came from, in terms of, when people study about Christ consciousness and the way of the rose, the way, a lot of that comes from the Tao, which means the way. And I could do a whole nother video about that topic too, but ultimately it's just, if we're embedded in a belief system, that means that we're in this box and we put ourselves in a box. That means that anybody not in our box is outside. We have separated us from everything and everybody, right? So when we do that and we're really rigid in that, then we've created a lot of separation. And that means, I'm not saying that we're automatically judging everybody, but we're separating. And so it's a lot harder to be accepting of everybody else outside of our box when we're very attached to what we have inside of our box. When we can relax and take that box away and just be, which is vulnerable for some people, because those belief systems can be a comfort zone, right? And they hold a purpose for a period of time, but we're meant to let go and not have them. We're meant to let go and release. And that's coming through really strong right now. We're meant to release. Okay? And just harness your own purpose, your own strength, your own wisdom, your own truth, your own light within you. Because that is ultimately why you are here for. It's your truth. It's your purpose. And ultimately we have to let go of stories, let go of narratives, let go of beliefs so we can become our highest self and go to that 0 point. So we can have unity consciousness, which does not mean to all be the same. It means to all just be an acceptance of one another. And when we can do that, we can have a heck of a lot more love and a heck of a lot more light on the planet. Okay? I'll show you a couple cards. I have my energy, what is it called? Energy Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor, and funny enough, the card on the front, that's just the cover of the book, is the moon. And I didn't do, actually, officially, I'll admit, I didn't really do a reading, but my guides will often just have me pick up a deck and just kind of open it, split the deck too, and I did that a whole bunch of times, and they just showed me a bunch of cards. And the moon card in this is Goddess of the Moon. And that was, I opened the deck up and that was one of the cards, and it's we're at 33 minutes right now, I think that says. Yeah, 33 minutes into the video, by the way. So Goddess of the Moon. So the moon is a goddess energy. It's a feminine energy. And the divine feminine energy is really rising in men and women because we all hold that feminine energy within. So, and that's scaring some people and it's making some people uncomfortable. So if you're feeling uncomfortable with the moon, whatever the story is, what I want you to do is just reflect back in and just let go of resistance, let go of stories, let go of narratives, and just be honest with yourself and go within and just say, what is this telling me? Why is it triggering me? What do I feel? Do I feel threatened, scared, triggered? Am I afraid to embody and embrace my feminine energy within? Do I want to have that strong, bold, masculine energy? Is it my ego that's feeling resistance? Whatever it might be, I don't know. They're asking me to show this card, Archangel Ariel's card, but it's second chakra and it's gold. There's a lot of gold energy in this card. So it kind of contrasts with like a moon. The moon energy is very silvery. So it's the silver gold, but it's also that Christ consciousness energy. And then I got these two cards, attachment and deceit. They pulled these two cards out. So, letting go of attachment to anything that's deceptive. And ultimately, potentially, every storyline can be false. We don't know. But ultimately, it's about coming back to 0 point and just coming into that neutral state. Now, earlier I did do some grid work and healing with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and Sophia. Actually, it was, thank you, Sophia. Sophia came in and I embodied her, and I did some light language and some healing with the grid. And we did go into the grid and clear some distortions and did some clearing. So I did do some planetary work with Yeshua and Sophia. Yes, thank you, Sophia. She's here. Thank you. And we did some clearing work and healing to help remove false storylines, false templates, false timelines, false programs. Because when you're in these programs, it's so hard to see that you're in it. And I'm not judging anybody whatsoever, because I've been there. Sometimes we just need somebody to shake the tree and help us to see that and to just detach. So ultimately, it's just try to attach to nothing and be in that neutral state. And go with what resonates with you and what you feel in your heart. If you really resonate with somebody, in a particular, online group or what have you, that's totally okay. But it doesn't mean you have to buy into every single thing that they say, or that everything this group says, must be true. Use discernment. Feel resonance with everything you read, whether it's channelings or groups, doesn't matter. Resonance, out of the head into the heart, and just feel the energy of it. And so yeah, that's, in this card, Magician and the Mirror, they showed me too. So it's about the distortion and the mirroring, right? So ultimately, everything, how we see things, is a reflection of ourselves. So if we're looking at the world with a lot of anger, a lot of fear, then we have wounds inside to heal. If we're looking at the world and not trusting and saying, that's bogus, that's bogus, that's bogus, I don't trust that, I don't trust that, I don't trust that, it's all distorted, it's all fake, it's all this, it's all that, doesn't matter. How are you feeling about yourself? Because ultimately, it's about a mirror back on yourself and feeling into where your wounds are, and where are you not accepting yourself or loving yourself? How do you accept your darkness and your shadow? Do you accept your light? Do you accept your higher self? Do you accept and forgive yourself for mistakes? Do you acknowledge them? And this is all part of ascension and the healing process. So we really have to be soft and take down the barriers, let go of the roles, let go of the stories, let go of the narratives, let go of the fear, and allow the light to come in to bring in the information and to just be neutral and just detach, like you're floating. Okay? So that's what they're asking me to share with you, is to really just let go of everything. And they're showing me the Temple Path card too, which is about, it's all about a path, the inner temple, going within. Oh, and it's a bit, you can't really see, but at the bottom, this grass at the bottom, I don't know if you can see, sorry about the glare, it's actually a little bit of a spiral right here. So it's about spiraling within, so going within the pathway inside. So you really got to meditate and go deep, deep, deep in your heart and turn the mind off and just go deep. And then heal what needs to be healed. See what's mirroring to you. Okay? That's it, everybody. Thank you so very much. And I love you all. And I'm going to be back on here a whole lot more because I've got a lot more coming. That will be discussed in other videos. But today in this video, I just wanted to keep it on this topic. And remember, whatever it is, just observe and be and decide for yourself and love and accept all. Okay, that's it. I love you. Thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And again, this is Natalie, Magdalene's Wish, and Mary and Yeshua and Sophia. They're all here, and they all, honor, give you all blessings. Thank you. Namaste.